All right, let me stop there for a second. So sometimes people will come to me and they'll say, Michael, 80% of the people in our organization are the right people in the right seat. So therefore, we're 80% strong in the people component. That is nowhere near the case. And the reason is because something I refer to as the ripple effect. Just a few people in your organization who are the wrong people or in the wrong seat has an effect way beyond just them. So a couple of people who are wrong people are going to spread toxicity that's going to bring down much more of the organization. So I want to talk for a minute about how we build culture. And we build culture by using the core values in 5 ways. We use them to hire, fire, review, reward, and recognize. So I really want to talk about how we use the core values in hiring. So my recommendation is that when you're talking about core values during the hiring process, you almost want to be talking that person out of coming to work here. Listen, these core values are really important. If you come here, you're going to be surrounded by people who are just like this. So if this is who you are, you're going to love it here. We're going to love you. But if you're not, you got to be honest with yourself, because if you don't fit these core values, it's probably not going to work, and that's not going to be good for anybody. So in my organization, when I was implementing EOS, every candidate got to hear those core values at least 3 times during the hiring process. They heard it from the HR manager during the screening, they heard it from the hiring manager, and they heard it from me, because I talked to everybody that we brought into the organization before they got an offer letter. So we were very, very careful and very deliberate about making sure that we all talked about those core values the same way, not word for word, but making sure that we were using some of the same language, because when they hear that consistent message and they hear it again and again, what it does is it really drives home the point how important these core values are. Then the other thing we did is we used the core values and went over them again during their onboarding. So they hadn't even sat down at their desk yet, and they're hearing it for the 4th time. Remember, they need to hear it 7 times before they hear it for the 1st time. So they haven't even sat down at their desk yet, and they're already halfway there. But the second thing that happens when you use them in onboarding is you tell them what to look for. So have you ever had that scenario where you go out and you're looking for a new car and you test drive a certain model, and when you drive off the lot, you suddenly find these cars everywhere? You never realized how many of them there were on the road. It's because you weren't looking for it. Well, it's the same thing with your core values. If you tell people what these core values are and say, as you get out there and get to know your coworkers, you're going to find yourself surrounded with people who are just like this. And they'll find it because they're looking for it. And they'll see that behavior and go, oh, you know what? That's a real team player right there. Or, man, that person's really customer focused, and that person was really helpful. So they'll find those things, and that's what they're going to try to emulate. And that's the way they're going to try to assimilate aligned to those core values. So that's the way that you use core values in hiring. Does that make sense?